Okay, when I'm using the standards, I first of all think about what do I really want the student to look like and be able to do? What should they be able to do at the very end of the lesson or the end of the unit? What is that core basic knowledge? This is a survey entry course, but I want the basics. So first I will look at the CTE model curriculum standards for hospitality and tourism, which is the industry sector that I teach in, and my pathway is pathway B, food service and hospitality. So I'm going to look at the anchor standards, the foundation standards first, and I'm going to look at how can I incorporate those into this lesson. Number two, which of the pathway standards are covered by this, and I look at each one. After I had determined which ones will match up, then I start thinking about how am I going to get the student from A to Z by the end of the unit or the end of the class. What strategies do I need to use? What reteaching do I need to use? And I'm constantly, even during the unit, changing, trying to improve, make it better, make adjustments. They don't understand that. What can I do tomorrow to fix it? Once we arrived in the lab, the students immediately went to their lab stations and sanitized their stations. They got out a 2 sheet pans, half sheet pans, and put a piece of parchment paper on it and labeled each of the sheet pans with the correct type of hamburger patty and the correct ratio of lean to fat. So when they go up to the supply table to select their product, they are not mixing them up and putting them in the wrong place, because then their data will all be skewed. So the students do that. They take it back to their table. They use a TARE digital scale, and they have to weigh each product and record the data on one of the charts. And then following, after they go to the grill, they will grill it. And they need to use the correct grilling techniques, including creating a crosshatch on the grill, on the burgers, and then they bring it back to their station after they've temped, and they will reweigh and remeasure both. After they've done that, they're going to calculate the percentage of shrinkage for both the weight and for the diameter. Okay, after the students have finished their calculations, then they're going to be doing a real-world problem where they're going to calculate the amount of hamburger meat they need to create enough burgers for a customer in their restaurant. They'll need to calculate the, using their percentage of shrinkage that they found out in their grilling activity that they did earlier. So they're taking information from the data that they gained, and they're going to use it in a real world problem. After they have recorded their data and figured out their percentage of shrinkage by weight and by diameter, they're going to go into their packet and they're going to create a linear graph showing what happened depending on the amount of shrinkage for the different products. And then after they finish that, they're going to answer a prompt asking them about what correlation can be made between these two linear graphs that they have created. And then finally, at the very beginning of the lesson, before we went into the lab, I had the students predict what they think would happen to the percentage of shrinkage if the hamburgers had been frozen and not pre-thawed out. In this meat unit that I've been doing, I've been really conscious about making sure that the students understand not only the culinary vocabulary, but also the academic vocabulary. I'm constantly using it over and over. In this lesson, I used correlation, I used diameter, I used shrinkage, I used linear graph. So I use some of the vocabulary that they're using in some of their other classes, which I think is really, really important. I had them create in another lesson a graphic organizer where they had pieces of paper with the words on it, and they had to take those words and organize them and according to how they were related to each other, and then afterwards they had to decide what the title of that was going to be. Why did you put those together? Why are those words? I think it's really important that the students are hearing the same terminology in a career technical education class as they're hearing in their academic classes, because when they hear that over and over, they understand what it is in the real world sense of the word.